Hello. So it looks like we're going to have to be doing our class this way this week, um, doing this isolation, which is very necessary. I myself am isolating, my family is isolating, and so we just feel that it's probably better if we conduct a class this way. And so I kind of figured that what I'd like to approach today is breathing and learning how to boost the immune system through the body itself, through the way that we're breathing, through the way that the pressure of the breath is being managed inside of our body. And this virus is a killer to certain people who are immune compromised. And we really want to draw our attention to this today. We should not be immune compromised. We should be boosting our immune system and focusing on this. I think maybe this is a time where we can finally look and really see that our health is not just our own. Some people like to say, well, it's my life or it's my body and I can do whatever I want. Well, in certain circumstances of health, especially when certain amount of resources have to go to our health system, and we can even see now that our health system itself will be compromised. So the health system in your body gets compromised, the health system that we work as an actual, in our government, in our economy and all of that, in our social structure, in the way we live in a society, we have obviously delegated a certain portion of resources, human, financial, material, everything, going into that system, and then we just walk around and abuse our own. Don't take care of our own, and then in the end, rely on that and compromise it. Well, when the hospital beds are filling up and you don't have coronavirus, but you do have other ailments that you may need to get into a hospital for, that's going to be very difficult because there won't be room for you, there won't be attention for you. And so this is maybe a time where we can really look at ourselves and we can really come to understand that maybe our health is our responsibility. And if it is, what can I do about that? Well, that's a pretty wide subject, and I'm not going to get into that right now. But there's some simple techniques that I would like to convey, and this really comes down to the way we breathe. So the human body is made up of all these natural pump systems. And we tend to move away from those pump systems the more stressed out we become, because we become tense, we become tight, we might even lose posture, all that kind of thing. And our body, especially because there's so much fluid in the human body, our body has to work with gravity, and it has to work with the way these pump systems work inside of us. If we can learn to come back to that natural way of breathing, that natural way of pumping, slow things down. So I can even feel it myself. As I started this video, I was coming in on a higher frequency and a higher energy, and I'm calibrating, bringing it down, because that's where we're going to go. So the first thing that you want to do is to learn how to breathe so that when you're breathing, you can keep the pressure in the body where it's naturally supposed to be. I have a podcast on the YouTube playlist here, and it's called The Science and Ecology of the Breath. I strongly suggest to check that out as well. You can try this now, but you'll understand this a lot more if you listen to that podcast. I don't want to devote all that time into this. This is more practical, and I just want to teach people how to breathe better, but also how to kind of really take more control over the so-called autonomic breath system and get more negotiation in there, have more say in what's going on inside of your body. And getting the fluid that builds up inside of the body, especially with this type of virus, or the flu, pneumonia leading into these types of respiratory issues, it can kill. It really can. And it really doesn't necessarily matter what age. I have a feeling that it has more to do with not just the immune system and the immune system being compromised. That is a very large part of it. But there's healthy people, fit people, so to say, who are also getting this and having it devastate them, if not even kill some of them. But let's not panic on that, because is it possible that even though someone can be considered, say, healthy or fit, what is the actual response to the immune system? And this is something that we really have to take in consideration, is our immune response. How do we, myself, say, as an individual, how do I deal with stress? How does my body deal with stress? How does my nervous system and my hormones deal with stress? How does my psyche deal with stress? All of these things wear down on our immune system, on our health. And if we turn inward and learn to examine the body itself and how, stress is affecting the way that we're breathing or the way that we're circulating, then we need to change that. Many people are breathing very wrong. In fact, I would say an extremely large portion of humanity is breathing wrong. We see an epidemic sweeping across the planet right now, sweeping across the planet right now. But there's this really long, slow, prolonged, over time pandemic that's been spreading through us for millennia. And that would be improper breathing. And it breaks down our system in every possible way. Lao Tzu spoke about this 4,000 years ago. 4,000 years ago, that people were breathing this way, and that they needed to go back to the natural way of breathing. So if we can correct this, it's amazing the energy levels and the immune building and everything. But again, podcast, I don't want to get off topic, and I can go into these things. So I would rather not. I would rather stay practical today and get to the exercises. So first of all, we want to understand breathing. More people may tune into this than just those who have been doing the classes, so I'm going to have a little review with this. And what we want to really look at here is the pressure of our breath. So I'm sure if any of you have ever done breathing exercises that you've heard of belly breathing. Well, I just want to emphasize that belly breathing isn't enough, and you're going to overstretch these muscles. And so we need more than just belly breathing. It's a good start, and yes, there's a lot of activity happening with the belly, but we want to sink the breath deeper. We want to sink the breath into the hips, bringing the breath down into the hips like the hips were a bowl, so that the hips themselves can expand and contract with every breath. And we want to keep the breath slow and pressurized. And we want to bring the breath in through the nose. So I'm going to describe it as we're going, and that way you're not getting lost. First of all, we're going to try to breathe in and out only through the nose. So you want to just try this. And I want to show a way of breathing that I just don't think is good at all. And that's this one. Breathing up. And in a martial sense, I'm a martial arts, I do martial arts. And anyway, in martial arts, there's a sign of exhaustion that's happening in your opponent when they start breathing up, that's for sure. When they start breathing heavy into their chest and they start breathing through their mouth, you know this individual is getting tired very quickly and that they're struggling to get the breath. I was born with asthma, and I struggled with my breath for a very, very long time. And stress breathing is the worst way we can breathe. We have receptors up in here, and these receptors are stress receptors. They're cortisol, epinephrine. And when you're breathing, when you go up into the chest like that, that's a panic breath. This is fight or flight. And a large portion of the population is breathing up like this. And it's suffocating, actually. Or holding the breath, which is also suffocating the brain, creating hypoxia, all kinds of issues with the nervous system. So we're not going to be holding our breath when we're practicing these exercises. We want to keep the breath fluid and moving, a continuum. This way we can also get such a flow of rhythm and streaming with the breath that it works more like a river rather than constantly pooling off. Okay? So again, we want to do this through the nose, and you can flare the nostrils if you're having issues breathing through the nose. Tiger breathing, I know that looks funny, but we want to flare the nostrils. Open either side in here. Don't just accept the pressure or the clog that's in there. You want to get it open. You can get it open. I know this might seem gross, especially since everyone's telling you not to put your hands on your face right now. Wash your hands before you do this, please. Grabbing your nostrils and just stretching them as well. This will also help you getting a deeper breath. But you're always pumping with your core. This is where I want to come to the point, is that you're breathing with your core, like an accordion. So it's doing this. This isn't, you're not breathing up like this. Instead, what's happening is the pressure swells in this whole area in the core. And we want to get that whole area opening, again, like a balloon. So you can go into the hips and envision that there's a balloon in the hips. And when you're breathing in, that balloon will expand spherically. And this is important to feel this. In this process, the lungs are swelling and you're getting that full breath. Even if you push down in through your feet. We're going to be doing this on a chair, so it's really simple today. Just sitting on the chair. But you want to make sure that you're on the edge of your chair. You'll have to excuse me, I've never done a selfie video before, and so angles are weird. I don't know if you can actually fully see me down here like this, just coming down like that. But I want to come to the end of the chair so that under here is open as well, and so that I can engage my weight into my feet through here. So what we want to do is get this area pumping. Focus on your exhalation, not the inhalation. See, that's where we struggle and we burn ourselves out, because we're always trying to take that inhalation, take that breath, pull in that breath. And I know, you're always hearing that, to take a breath when you need to calm down. How about breathe out and finish that breath, finish that exhalation, create a nice vacuum effect in here, and then let it swell. Receive the breath. It has such a different sensation and such a different effect on the body. Breathing out, breathing out. You can even use tones. I'm going to just keep throwing variances out there. I have a feeling we might be doing this for the next few weeks anyway. So I think this will be the focus of these classes, maybe for the next little bit. At least for the next 2 or 3 classes. Really get the understanding of this breath in place. So you can place your hands on your knees, just to kind of give your body some support. Always make sure that you're in your plumb lines. We're just going to go over some positioning here as well. The teeth, you want to make sure that the bottom teeth and the top teeth are at least in line with each other, connected. That way you keep the jaw aligned. It keeps your throat open, keeps pressure out of the ears. Then, tip of the tongue connects to the root of the palate just behind the top front teeth. This helps to keep the throat open. It may produce saliva, and if it's producing saliva, that's enzyme enriched. You want to swallow that. However, if you build phlegm, you do not want to swallow the phlegm. Always spit the phlegm out, so make sure and have a tissue with you or something like that, that if you need to spit into, do so. If you get some type of virus that's respiratory, you need to keep the fluid out of your lungs anyway. You need to keep inflammation down. One of the biggest issues with this virus is inflammation. One of the biggest problems with most diseases and viruses and problems in the body is inflammation. And we need to change the markers in our blood. We need to bring down the inflammatory markers and bring up the anti-inflammatory markers, the natural ones inside of our body. We can do this through cold water treatment. I do cold baths almost every single day. I sit in really, really cold water for anywhere from 5 to 10, and depending on how hard I'm training, even right into 15 minutes. But usually between 5 and 10 is what I sit in. And the temperature is usually about 4 degrees. I'm not recommending that you just jump into that. Maybe do some Wim Hof training for that kind of thing. Start out with cold showers a little bit at a time to get your nervous system used to it as well. However, learning to retrain your system to bring down acids, to bring down inflammation, to bring down swelling, the fluid that builds up, especially in the lungs and that. This is training and preventing your body. We see what happens in an interventive society. This is intervention. What you're looking at, how they're dealing with this pandemic right now, is intervention. And it's going to blow up in our face. Prevention, which is the traditional Chinese medicine way, a very Taoist type approach. I don't follow any religion. Everything's philosophy for me in these things. But coming in from this understanding of prevention is so important. We prevent these things from happening, and then we don't have to intervene and deal with them. Okay? So, we can begin with just the breathing. I keep getting off topic, but these are important things to understand, especially as we're going to start cleaning out our system. So, again, we want to get the system pumping. And we're just going to go over natural pump systems. I'm going to kind of stop talking now so that you can get more of a feel, although I will talk to explain what you're doing. So first of all, you want to get into a chair. Get so that you're open through here. Bringing the hands onto the knees. Just going to come back and make sure I'm in frame. I've never done a selfie before. Okay. And then we're just going to come forward. And as you come forward, you're going to very slowly bring the chin out as you go down. Breathing out all the way. Let your legs absorb your weight. Drop your head, tuck your chin. Very slowly we're going to push. Now here's where you're swelling your belly, you're swelling your core, you're swelling your lower back. I'm just going to come up with the head straight first. And then extend the chin out as you go down. Now as you go down, you're pulling the belly in and up. So you're lifting the diaphragm so that the breath comes out. Down, push, slowly coming up. You can even pull the knees a little bit here. Bring the spine forward. This is really good for your spine as well, but you're pulling the belly in and up, pulling the belly in and up. You don't want to breathe the breath up. You breathe when you're coming up, but you want the pressure going down into the body. As you go down, the diaphragm lifts now, the belly lifts, squeezing the lungs that way. So it comes up, squeezes the bottom of the lungs. And now I'm just going to flow with it. And you're breathing in as you come up. Breathing out as you go down. Keep your jaw aligned. Tip of the tongue connected to the palate. Breathe down into the hips. Swell the hips as you come up. Keep it slow, but move to the speed of your breath. Okay, now I'm going to start bringing the chin up. I'm going to do the chin pump. This helps to help also clear out the throat. Please be careful that when you go up, you're not holding your breath, though. We want to work with a flow, a streaming circuit. So I'm breathing in And breathing out. The moment you feel full, you want to breathe out. We're not holding the breath. But what we are doing is lengthening the exhalation. You want to create a vacuum effect. So I'm going to come down. I'm trying to move at your speed, or the speed of someone who doesn't normally do breathing exercises, because for a lot of people it's very hard to go really slow. But this is where we want to get to. You want to also really just slow it down. And this is where we talk about shifting the gears, slowing the system down. So you get really long exhale, and a nice long relaxed inhale. And again, as you're coming up, the belly swells, your core swells. You even want to feel it in your lower back. This will even help your back issues. As you're coming down, you want to let the legs absorb your body weight nice and gently. And then when you're coming up, push the legs into the ground for leverage. You'll get a deeper breath this way. Okay, we're going to bring the hands in more so that we can open the sternum more now. We want to open so that we're taking the pressure off of this area here. We got lung 1 and lung 2 points in here. We just want to get that area to open as well, working with the posture. And so that way the elbows come back. You'll see here, bringing the elbows back like that. Not forcing it though. You don't want to create tension and draw it back and force it. You want to just make sure that it's relaxed, but and that's why your hands are here too. That can help you. You don't want to be feeling all this strain in your lower back. And so that's where we want to work through that pump. And this pump breath is really helping to get the system moving. It's really good for your heart as well. However, if you have high blood pressure, then it's important to sit and just do that belly breathing and the lower back breathing so that the whole core is breathing for about a minute before you begin, just so that you can settle the pressure in the body, the blood pressure, let it settle as well. Your breath pressure moderates your blood pressure, manages it. So now I'm up in here. I'm going to breathe out. And as I come up, I'm pushing my hands just gently. All this subtle isometric work is really good for you as well. If you go back to the other classes, there's 4 classes up right now, and if you go to those, you'll learn more about the isometrics. You'll learn more about the body's natural pump systems as well. We're just going to get a nice rocking breath here. Some of you may experience coughing while you're doing this. If you experience coughing, stop. Don't try to cough your way through it. Just stop. Hack up whatever you gotta hack up. That's fine. Get it out. Better out of it than in ya. And then once you're done coughing, just go back into it. Okay, so we're going to come back up. I'm just going to move through these, but take your time. Learn each one, do it a little bit longer. Okay. Now we're going to do some pumping for the arms. I'm just going to move back here. Again, please bear with me. I'm used to using a selfie. Okay, so we're just going to bring the arms down, and they're going to breathe in. Stretch the fingers as you come up. Push down through your feet. Remember, you want to feel the pressure in your core. You don't want to breathe your pressure up. Then breathe out, and as you're coming down, slowly relax your fingers so that by the time the fingers drop down to the sides, they are completely relaxed, allowing the blood flow to go into the hands. Then coming back up, slowly reaching as you're coming up. Stretch the fingers. You can do different things too. If you're having like rotator cuff issues and you're getting all kinds of snapping and cracking, you can even just come up like this as well. I like to give different alternatives to the exercises as well. Most people should be able to do most of what we do if we find different alternatives. Push into the ground, coming up. You can leave a comment below as well. If you have a certain issue that you want to work around, let me know, and then in the next one I can always throw in an alternative. So we're just going to draw the elbows back with it. So you see her. Come back to the sides. Just bring the elbows and drop the hands back down again. And then coming up. Push into the ground. Come down. And you know, if you want to create variances with it as well, so we don't end up with carpal tunnel always repeating the same things all the time. So you're going to breathe out. Again, let the hands relax. So you're pumping the fingers, you're pumping all the joints here. You're getting things moving, you're getting acid out of the hand, you're getting blood, promoting all this blood flow into it as well. Keep it dynamic, and you can keep it moving in different ways. But it's a matter of going up and down and stretching as you go up so that by the time you're all the way up, your hand is extended. You're opening each knuckle. You want to feel that. You want to feel each knuckle opening as well. This is the pump. It's all these different pumps. Your joints are pumps. They're not just articulation points. You can use your joints to heal your joints. And come down. And this is where you relax so that the blood flow goes down. And then come back up. Slowly stretch it. So it takes a bit of time to open and stretch it so that by the time you're here, full stretch. And then come down. Relax it as you're coming down. This is also working with your body's own elasticity. Helping to promote more elastin, I hope. Elasticin, sorry. Coming down, coming down. See, I'm relaxing it. Just draw the elbows back. So this way, this area opens as well. And then coming through. And again, I like mixing up different things I'm doing. So now I'm opening my elbows a bit more, letting my body warm up into it. Going down, but always come back, opening through the sternum, drawing the elbows back, and then coming back, breathing in. And again, you're not breathing the pressure up, you're pushing it down into your hips. And when the arms come down, then you're pulling in and up, lifting, using that piston of your diaphragm to do this. So when you breathe in, it comes down, and when you breathe out, it goes up. You breathe in, it goes down. See, it's giving all this room for your lungs here. The bottom of your lungs need to come down, so your diaphragm is going to pull it down. It's the floor of the upper organs. And then when you breathe out, you want to lift it, and that's where the muscles are pulling in and up. Just keep doing the exercise while I'm talking. And then you want to pull this in and up. So this is the breathe out. This is the breathe in. Whole thing swells. Just like when you were a baby. When a baby is first born, the baby is breathing with its core. And that's what we want to get back to. Your whole system is designed around breathing this way. And when we don't breathe that way, it throws our system off. Unless we're using it for specific breaths, especially in martial arts, we can change our breath in certain ways to create different dynamics in our energy and what we're doing. So breathe in, swell the whole thing. Then breathe out, breath comes out. Okay, keep the arms moving with it. And again, when the arms are up here, you're pushing your legs down into the floor. And you'll feel it open through the hips and the lower back. And then breathe out, bring it back down. Okay, and now we're going to work, so we're going to start working the shoulders and the rib cage to get it unstuck. So we get all this fluid and acid that builds up in there, rib cage becomes stuck. If your lungs are filling up with fluid, you really need muscles to keep working that. The lungs are not a muscle. This is important to understand because the lungs are more like, it's like a vacuum cleaner, the ones that have the bags. Sucks with the motor, not with the bag. This is your motor. All the muscles around it, more than 75% of the muscles in the human body are designed to aid in the coordination of breathing. Most people use 5% up here, that upper chest breathing, which is also nicknamed stress breathing. And it's funny that it's nicknamed stress breathing because that's exactly what it's for. We breathe that way when we get stressed. It's a fight or flight response. And so breathing into there, again, triggers the cortisol, the epinephrine, adrenaline. That's a nasty cocktail to be living on. We're living on a hormonal cocktail of fight or flight if we're breathing with our upper chest. And it burns your system out. So we want to change that. We want to bring the pressure down here where all these calming receptors are, these good hormones that are neurotransmitters that are going to be produced from in here. Your own pharmacy. Which one do you want? Do you want stress or do you want calm? And it's your choice, just by the way you breathe. Okay, so you can use the hands again, pushing in. We're going to lift the shoulders, and it looks like I'm breathing up, but I am not breathing up because internally I'm pushing the pressure down into my hips. As I lift my shoulders up to create space, I'm creating all this space, and I'm trying to get my rib cage unstuck. You get a lot of stuff that gets stuck in there, especially along the spine, and your rib cage is more like a series of joints. All these are joints that work together. We want to just get them unstuck. Ready? So, remember, pressure goes down inside. Internal body is doing the opposite of the external body. So I'm going to breathe in, lift my shoulders, push into my hips. You want to feel the diaphragms going down. This is strengthening the solar plexus. Then breathe out. Bring the shoulders right down. So I'm pulling my shoulders down as I'm pulling the belly in and up. So I'm lifting the diaphragm. You also want to be careful not to be breathing with your throat, but breathing through your throat. So another way you can do this as well is to also roll the shoulders. So I'm going to breathe in, roll the shoulders forward, bringing them up. Then as I bring the shoulders back and bring them down, I'm going to breathe out. So I'll sit this way too so that you can see from a different angle as well. So I'm going to just breathe in and out. This really helps you get your spine unstuck from the rib cage as well. Okay, now I'm going to slow it down. Coming forward, I'm going to breathe in. And I'm going to breathe out. See how I'm using my hands? Just pushing. Using isometric leverage. So here, I'm just drawing back, bringing the scapula closer together. Squeezing out that acid in the upper back as well. And this isn't just helping you with all that fluid, it's helping you with all that acid, it's helping you with all that tension and pain that people are getting all up and through here. Remember, you want the pressure moving down here as you lift the shoulders. So I'm breathing into my hips. And then as my shoulders come through the back, coming down, I'm pulling my belly in and up. And then you can also do this one, it's a little rapid. So you just go up and down like this, but you're breathing quickly, pumping the belly. Again, pushing the legs. Hope to get all that acid out of there, which is really nice. Next, now, so we want to also keep stuff from getting stuck in the throat. As you get a virus, it builds in the mouth, it builds in the throat, it builds in the sinus cavities. You have all this defense in here that wants to protect the internal system. And so a lot of the times your immune system needs to come up in here and be active. But you see, immune response is a funny thing. It's kind of like when you eat for taste, there's two sides of taste. You have taste buds, but the reason you have taste buds is to trigger the proper digestive responses in your body. Like, okay, this type of food is going in, so I need this type of enzymes and hormones to help digest that. And so as we're chewing and we're mixing it with the saliva, and the saliva also, again, enzyme enriched, and you get more and more in there, then it goes down. It's almost like a computer program now. It knows how to work. It goes in there, all these different translations are going on, and it starts moving its way through the digestive system so much easier. However, you can also have taste buds that are responding to your emotional satisfaction. Oh, but I really like the taste of this, even though it's killing me. But I'm just going to keep stuffing it in there because my taste buds love it. But the rest of the body does not. So, what are we really listening to, the body or the emotional side of want and need and all that kind of stuff? So we really want to be careful for that kind of thing. So breathing is the same way. As we're coming in, we have all these responses. Do you want reaction or do you want response? Reaction tends to get us in a lot of shit. We really got to watch our reactions to things. This is why learning to be more calm, absorb information, absorb what's going on first, allows you to process, then respond. And so that's what we want from our immune system. We want it to behave that way. We want it to have a calm response based on the information coming in, rather than a panicked, oh my God, we're doomed! Pump, right? And that's all you end up doing is pumping all, your immune system turns against you. And you don't want it turning against you. It's supposed to be there to help you. Do you want your guards suddenly turning against you and moving inward? No, of course not. They're the defense. Just look what's going on right now. All of a sudden, again, this whole society thing is mirroring it. They're bringing in the military. Our own internal immune system, the defense system, apparently, that is supposed to keep invaders away, right? They're now turning inward. That's kind of what happens with a martial law or a lockdown kind of thing. We're not behaving properly in this situation, and they have to bring in military. Now, it could be many other things. I don't know. However, just understand that the situation that we're in right now, our defense systems are moving inward, turning against us. So, weird manifestations of things. Am I just being poetic? I don't know. But anyway, you see the mirror of the mirror. And we are human, reflecting our own energies. And what happens in the micro can happen in the macro. And we're seeing that mirror now. So maybe we need to change that also for ourselves in our own consciousness. And we need to make sure that, again, like our medical system, we're not just reacting. We're not just intervention. We're not just focusing on intervention. We need to be focusing on prevention, and then our health system doesn't end up in the same state that our body, right? It's a mirror with a mirror. Same thing. We are it. It is us. And so it's the same thing with the defense mechanisms. Now we've got our own military moving in, having to, enforce us to behave. And that's a panic. That is a panic. And so a panic response. And so here we are now. Look at your body. Does your body have a panic response? Reaction. I'm catching myself. Sorry, panic reaction, right? Because I'm talking about immune response. I keep going back to that. But you want immune response, not immune reaction. You don't want your immune system panicking. I was talking to my wife about this just the other day. We do those cold baths, and we're training our system as well. Our system learns not to panic. It learns how to work with inflammation and all these different things going on. And doing the cold plunges also, it's the sponge as well. It's squeezing. Our lungs are like sponges as well. And we need to treat them that way. We need to keep squeezing those lungs out constantly. They're not going to do it themselves. We have to actively pump it. Okay, so now we're going to work a little bit with the fluid of the body as well. And there's a breathing in yoga called the breath of fire. And the breath of fire has many benefits right across the system of the ecosystem of the body. So if I say it's doing this, it's doing other things as well. So just so you're not going, whoa, I thought it did this, but it has many, many jobs. So, one is digestion, one is hormonal balancing, one is working and understanding temperatures in your body, all kinds of stuff. For this, we're going to work with fluid. We want to purge. We want to purge the fluid that builds up in our body, especially phlegm, lymph that can build up, the yellow stuff that comes up, all that phlegm. You want to get all that out. You don't want that in your system. And so we're going to use the tongue for that. And we get a lot of stuff that can get trapped in here as well, and we need to keep cleaning it out. I know this is disgusting. And a lot of people right now are probably going, oh, really? It's your body. I'm a parent. I have changed diapers. I have been baptized in vomit. Where you're dealing with your own inner child here. And if you have to deal with your own grossness, then you just have to deal with your own grossness. And that's just how it is. And, I couldn't sit there with my baby and be like, no, wipe your own butt. No, I had to get in there, as disgusting as it was. And I just had to deal with it. I just put all that aside and just deal with it. And, your own body, do the same thing. Just put it aside. If it's gross, who cares? Bring it up, get it out. Because the alternative is more disgusting. I'll tell you that. Way more disgusting. So let's focus on the prevention instead of the intervention. So again, the tongue. We're going to use the tongue. I'm sure my tongue is getting all white and pasty now because I'm talking and not drinking water. Give me a second, please. I just want to get saliva. So this helps too, get saliva moving. So you're not so dried out. Have a glass of water with it really, but I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, so stretch out the tongue like that. And then we're going to go up and down. We're going to do that pumping. And then we're going to come up and then we're going to do the breath of fire. So first we're just going to go. Remember, internally you're pulling in and up. Close the mouth when you come up. Breathe through your nose. Again, you may notice saliva starting to build in the mouth. Swallow the saliva. If you start noticing phlegm coming up, spit out, cough out the phlegm. You may feel heat building. That's good. There are different ways of doing these breathing exercises, but right now, we're going to break them down over the series too. We'll stick with this one first. Okay, and we're going to come up. Get the belly pumping. Just like a dog panting. Remember, so your belly's doing this. It's going. Sorry, I've never watched myself doing this before. It's a weird selfie. You just want to keep it in, pull it in, pull it in, pull it in, and then slow it down. But first we go fast. Pump your hips with it even. All the way out. Then, one in through the mouth is nice. Open, don't hold your breath, and then breathe out. It's harder talking to do this at the same time, but I'm educating, so I have to do it this way. Open, breathe in, breathe out. We just want to get a nice pump going again. Now we're going to start getting the spine with it. Breathe in, push down into your bum, curve your spine. So this is curving this way. And then I'm going to breathe out and it's going to curve that way. So it's going to curve that way. Breathing in, it curves inward. Breathing out, it's going to curve outward. Cat and dog like you would in yoga on the ground. Okay? So you're just going to breathe in and out. Remember, don't hold your breath, please. Fill your nostrils if you have to. There's times where I gotta stop and explain what's going on, but you just keep doing the exercise. If I have to stop, you just keep going. So again, you want to make sure that you're pushing into the ground. You're feeling your body opening. Feel the curve going up in the back. So it's like a bow. Even bring the chin up as much as you can. Just don't force anything though. And then when you breathe out, collapse a little bit. Let your legs absorb your weight as you shift. Feel it. Feel the shifting even. Come through. And then we're just gonna like the point here, like a bow again, like an arrow, and just push into the ground. Tuck the chin, and breathe in. Ready? Keep the tension out of your chest, like out of your lungs themselves. The tension is moving with the muscles, expansion and contraction. Contraction, expansion. Best way to deal with inflammation, how do you squeeze out a sponge? Right? The sponge swells, and then you want to squeeze it out. Expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. You're doing this with your whole body. Expansion, contraction. Especially because when this kind of virus or whatever really gets into the system, it's affecting your gas exchange in your lungs. It's affecting the cellular work of your lungs. You're getting all this consolidation down in here. Everything's getting just starting to build up and fluid and everything. And this is where your blood is coming in the most to gather oxygen and then move into the body. And so you want to make sure, again, your hormones, everything in your body is telling you to breathe in here. Everything in your body is telling you not to breathe up here. There is a design. If we follow the design, things become so much easier. Okay, let's just do a few more. I know I'm doing a lot of talking in this one, but this breathing, you really have to understand it. Next one, I can tell you to go back to this one if you've not seen it, and then you watch that one, less talking, much more breathing, okay? Or go back to the Qigong exercises as well. There's 4 classes up already. That. Qigong, you want to really talk about working this stuff through you and really building your immune system? Qigong, yoga, mix those two together. It's phenomenal. Okay. We're going to end off with this. So. And all the way out. If you get burpy, that's fine. It's good for that too. Then relax. Breathe in. Out. In. So you're going to have saliva all over your tongue, so you just got to deal with it. Breathe in through the nose. Swallow that saliva if you built up some nice enzyme-rich enriched saliva. So you want to just keep working with that. You can keep going back over this. That's the brilliance of having it on a video, is you can keep going back over it. Skip the parts where I start doing too much of this. And just follow how that's going in these little breathing exercises. We're gonna end just stimulating some pumping as well, some of the natural pump systems. So we're just gonna get the throat. So this is good for draining your throat. So first of all, we're just gonna tap in here, just under your sternum, your clavicle in there. We just wanna get in there. If you can do that with your fingers. Let's breathe with it. Every time you make a little bit of impact, you wanna make sure that you're breathing out. Very important to understand you're not hitting yourself. You're tapping. Same way, if you're playing a drum, you don't hit the drum. Wow, that would sound horrible. You're tapping. You're actually like bouncing off of it. And so that's what you're doing here as well. You want to get that moving. It's all movement. It's stagnation. That's the last thing you want. Stagnation's what's crushing people. I'm gonna open this way now. Just get under the rib cage. At the sides here, so I'm getting in here and on the sides. And again, you're not doing it too hard. I'm a martial artist. I've been doing Iron Shirt Qigong for a very long time, so for myself, I can definitely do it a lot harder. But you just go at your own pace. You might find yourself sensitive in certain areas too. You just soften it up a little bit. So if you go, ooh, it's a little soft, you just get in there, still keep doing it. You want to promote that blood flow. That's what you want to do. You want to get those nerves to not be so sensitive. And you do that through blood flow. There's a massive relationship between your blood and your nerves. You just get in there and just get all that open. That's what we need. We need to get it all moving. And then just move up and down the rib cage a little here. Moving to the sides. It's a workout in itself, you see. Go down the arms a little bit now. Okay, now we're going to move up into the throat. So I want to just do some light tapping like this. Even if you just use the middle finger and the index finger, and just get in there. Or you can use the fingers as a whole. Find different ways that work for you. Again, you can stretch the tongue. Try to get up in here as well. You want to work with your glands, you want to work with the lymphs, you want to get all of that. You want to stimulate your glands and you want to drain your lymphs. Light slapping even. It's even good for the arteries going up and down from the brain. And you just do a little bit each day. It all gets stronger and stronger, healthier and healthier. Along the jaw. And this calms you down too. Gotta get rid of that stress. What do you need it for? Let it go. Why are you holding it? Why are you holding it? It's crazy to hold it. Let it go. Just let it go. Okay, now we're going to get in through here. So this is, I know I look weird ways, but again, I'm trying to get used to this. Okay, so we're going to get in here like this. And these are your sinus glands. We want to stimulate those. We want to make sure that we can get that out. And stretch your face, look up too. If you get heavy bags under your eyes, you can slap like that lightly. And then above. Okay, then we're going to breathe in. Remember, get that pressure to build into your hips when you breathe in. And then we're going to do a little om. This vibrates your chest cavity. Using certain mantras and sound resonation vibrates blockages out, especially in your respiratory system. So we're just going to go, you're going to just breathe in and then resonate the sound om. Half of the sound is om. The other end of it is and so vibrates all down in here, vibrates up in here. So you're going to move that vibration up and through the sinuses. If you keep your teeth together, because the skull itself is so resonant and acoustic that it'll just vibrate right through. You'll feel all this vibration happening in your glands and that. Okay, so and that's how we're going to end. Okay, so it's going to breathe in. Go at your own speed and pace, of course. You'll notice that every Om is different. And don't worry about what it sounds like. It might sound guttural or horrible. It's not about the sound. It's about the feeling. The sound is Om. That is the only concern of the sound. To hold your breath. Remember that you want to keep exhaling. So as soon as you fill up, you breathe it out right away. And just let it go. Never hold the breath. You can do loud ohms, soft ohms. Just keep doing Om, Om. And try it. See if you can do Om for 10 minutes even. And just keep resonating that. Eventually, as you begin to quiet down, and your body's like, oh, I think I've had enough of these Oms. And you start to calm it down and slow it down. You just get quieter and quieter and quieter until eventually it's just It's just this light little hum inside of your body. And you can try that. That's a really nice one to try on your own. Especially if you want to just calm your system down. Nothing like resounding that Om sound and doing that deep breathing while you're doing it. So I think that's enough for today. Thank you all for tuning into this. And I'll try again within another week or two to get another one of these up. And we'll try to keep this going until we can get back into classes. And I'll mix it up too, but we'll start with some more of this breathing. We'll continue with that a little bit, and then we'll get back into more of the standing Qigong work as well. But it's nice to also be able to teach some things on a chair. There's a lot of people that have a hard time standing that long. Okay, thank you very much. See you next time.